news cycle is looking very attractive for crypto, but not for the economy. If there is going to be close to $1 trillion due and a lot of banks to collapse due to the commercial real estate, that's trouble for banking segment. And when one of these giants in the industry says they are 189 billion in cash, that means they're waiting for fire sale in the equities market. Right now we're looking at the crypto market to understand, okay, what does all of that mean to the crypto market? What does the market sentiment show you? Did we get a breakout? No, we're still in this point. We would like to see one, but as of now, we don't have that. You look at Ether on the short term, you would say this was the previous support. That's now turning into a resistance. Is that great? What do you see? Because the moment you actually go on to a higher time frame structure, things change. So you look at the altcoin market excluding Ether, you're watching something. Now you're going to see massive opportunity here. Higher liquidity. Last time you saw how things played out. We've talked about these scenarios and the possible bounces coming in. So you need to focus on the altcoins which are now following this trend. That's where your opportunities will be. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. If we take the macro picture for XRP, we can actually put this argument there clear. We had a massive rally, we went up like nuts. Then the consolidation was like so long, so huge. So that was like, a crazy level of consolidation starting all the way from 2018 till this point. Now, if we do get this break to the upside, that changes the story, that changes the narrative, showing, yes, last time we saw such a consolidative movement in the price action for XRP, it went up crazy. What are we going to do this time around? Are we going to follow that kind of a structure, or it's going to be very small? If you do look at the possibility, you cannot deny the fact that the price action is showing you very interesting move to the upside. It still has a long way to the upside. Remember, when you do put a trend line to connect all this for the strength side of things, you're still inside that. You didn't yet get a breakout. So if you do look at this as a trend, this is still a channel which we are following. Now that you bounced off from this channel and you're trying to this phase where you're doing another microstructure inside that channel, we want to see which direction we break. Are we going to bounce off from this, or are we going to break to the downside? As of now, you can see the support held. So you're bouncing back up. So on a weekly, the support is still holding strong. Buyers are entering at this level. Now, say we want to compare it with the market. This is the altcoin market showing you what it is showing you, which is clear. A long wick doji. So if we go back in the price action, we'll actually see the fact that last time when this happened, how did the market react? You had one candle here. You had another one here. Now, say you go back into Bitcoin. You want to see the micro, you want to come back down, retest this range and bounce off. That's going to be the best narrative. That's going to be the best thing to see. When you go on the weekly chart, this is something you cannot deny. We have seen these kind of moves in the recent past many times, over and over again. These kind of dojis did show you that was a local bottom. So if you happen to see this here and the price reacted one way, here and the price reacted one way, here and the price reacted one way again. I would argue, even if the price is still close to 61,500 and we get a weekly close, that's going to show you the possible move to the upside. That can actually push the price back up because you're now coming back down to test the moving average. Historically speaking, that first retest there gives you a lot of room to the upside. The second retest, it's just one pump. Now, how high is that one pump going to be? Is it going to be 75 and done? Or are we going to go higher? That's where you look at the strength index. If the weekly shows you that the strength is going back into the overbought territory, now you have to go back into history because we have seen this over and over many times. You go up, you come back down. You go up, you come back down, but you never go into the neutral to negative territory, which is below 50. You can see that. So each of these drops in the market, as we know, is like 30-40%. Still, the market kept going up because the moving average was acting as a support. What's the storyline now? Where the hell are we? We're testing the moving average. We're bouncing off from the moving average. Now, the monthly becomes an important factor too because the last month was not good. Right? It created a lot of panic. The monthly candle close showed the strength of bulls are still there. It's not positive. With a little bit of selling volume, you dropped. That's an engulfing candle. So unless we break above 60-70% of this candle, now usually it's 50% to be honest, but with the crypto and all the uncertainties which we have to paddle through, I would argue, let's keep 60 to 70%. So if we can erase that, I'm optimistic. 1. 2. This is key. Your previous level of resistance is still acting as a support, and that's on a monthly chart. You should not forget that. If you're watching something on a higher time frame structure and that's valid, it's good. The price action is showing you that is turning into a new level of support because we have seen these. The monthly close here turned into a support. What happened next was another level of bounce to the upside. Are we going to repeat that? Great. Now, you zoom in, you want to see the weekly. And you're like, okay, weekly, we had buying pressure, which is higher than the last week, but you still don't have a blow through the upside. But we can say this. Sellers pushed it till this point, but buyers came back up. They push it back up to this level. So that's okay. But the next week, if the follow through is coming in, you need to see that's going back up because the MACD shows you you're entering that negative territory. But yeah, for sure, we have had these moments, an immediate reversal. So are we going to do that? That's where we're going. We're zooming in on the 3-day chart, and the 3-day chart does show you that we're trying to form another bullish engulfing candle. Can we do that? It's going to be important. Because on the other end, if you look at the ether, it's failing to do that. It's not building an engulfing candle. We would like to see that. But yes, when you do zoom a little bit in, on the daily, you can put the narrative, we're still at this phase. That's a rectangle. But the problem with these rectangles are, it follows the direction of that micro trend. We had this range of rectangle, which had this as a direction. So it broke to the downside. So unless we see a breakout here, lower highs, that's being formed. So crystal clear, highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. If you get rejected there, you're coming back down to 2,800. One thing to keep in mind for ether is this trend is not invalidated. So your support at 2,700 is still valid. Yes, the MACD, you're looking for something positive, but the price action is not showing you it's turning positive. For that, it needs to put in a higher high. Even for XRP, we can identify this. This is clearly lower swing highs. The change, however, is that you didn't put a lower low, you put in a higher low. So there is some deviations here, which is good, Last time you have seen something like this that ended up positive. Yes, there was volatility while we were going back up, but it looked good. Now, say you just want to look at the entire crypto market. Take the Bitcoin, take the altcoin, take everything together. This is what we are watching. And to understand that the Bitcoin side of things in that, you need to look at this. We actually went up, we broke the trend line back to the upside. We want to see which one becomes a fake out. Is this break to the downside becoming a fake out? Or is this becoming a fake out, the break to the upside? Because both has higher odds. The daily shows you the MACD is going to cross to the upside. But don't be deceived. The 3-day is showing you the MACD has already crossed to the downside, right? So now we are going to the weekly, from 3-day to weekly. And you're like, okay, we are still respecting this range as a support. So why not we have a bounce here and then come back down? Maybe a little bit higher before we come back down. That is still possible. Now, when that happens, Bitcoin is taking more share from the market. Remember, crypto market is close to the all-time highs only because Bitcoin is at the all-time highs. Not because the altcoins are. And the Bitcoin dominance shows you it's at 55, close to 55. So we need to see that slowing down. And on the monthly, this now is important. You're starting to show or signal you're going to provide a hanging man. Now, yes, it's too early to say that. It's just 4th of the month. So you have a long way for this month to end. But the reason I'm highlighting that right now is that you had a massive wick to the upside. So the momentum tried to push it through to the upside, retesting this range. But the Bitcoin bulls failed to push it through. So you're catching what I'm saying? This range has been acting as a resistance, support, and a resistance. It broke lower, crazy break to the downside. That's where we got the 2021 rally. Now you are retesting that. What happens if you get rejected? That's my question. If you do get rejected, this is going to be very choppy to the downside. But can we say it's going to go that low? Most likely no, because you're going to see a range of support here. So if you do bounce to the upside at that point, it's cool. You may actually see the price slowly bouncing back up. It's okay. It's good. We'll follow the structure. Because as of now, you'll have to still say this is going to be the game, right? You get rejected here, you come back down to the support. Unless you break this to the upside or to the downside, you'll have to agree that we are not going anyway. This is the direction. This is the path. Then you go back because Ether is playing a critical role in the altcoin market right now. You also need to understand what this asset is showing you. Say 3-day chart, weekly chart, whichever you'd like. It is still showing you that idea here on the weekly. You're still above the moving average. You're coming to the moving average and bouncing off, which is positive. On a monthly, you had a huge candle to the downside. And that candle shows you this month, what we need to see is a break about 60 to 70%. Because if not, if you even fail in next 2 months coming back up to this level of 3,600, that's negative. That's negative, right? So one of the primary things we are focusing here is the change in direction. Now that change in direction can also happen like this. That still shows the price of this asset can go high, but what if it takes another month? What if it takes another 2 months, right? So that's one of the reasons why the monthly close is going to be really important. Because when you do zoom in on the weekly, it gives a little bit different narrative. It shows you the fact that even with volume on the selling side, which is increasing, you're not watching the price coming back down to close. Now, yes, the daily and the weekly close tomorrow is going to be important. That's why we will understand this. But as of now, the pattern is clear. Your direction was this. Your consolidation is this. So if you do go up, that's great. That's what you want to ride on to. And that's why we were looking at a lot of different opportunities. We were looking at a lot of different assets in this market, which shows you that, yeah, that bottom is conceivable here, just like what we have seen in the recent past, and we may actually bounce off. So if you're bouncing off, the assets which are below the moving average on a weekly will find it hard to break it and go back up. The assets which are above the weekly moving average will show you it's positive. And that's one of the reasons why I was saying we need to see XRP breaking this range. We need to see XRP bouncing after this. Before that, the moving average is a huge resistance and it's going to take time to break through. That's one of the reasons why in the SI family we were going through a ton of different assets from the crypto market, which was giving you a clear narrative of which direction the market is going. You don't want to misunderstand the volume. You don't want to misunderstand the price action and enter into a fake out. So that's one of the reasons why we stay there, learn from it, and try to observe. Say you take any assets which you want in the market, look through the price action on a macro, and then ask the question what the price action is showing you. Remember, when the price dropped to this point, we had the argument at like $3 saying this should go up. Now we are like 50% up from that level. Yes, we had a long wick to the upside, crazy wick to the upside. But if you do notice something, the price action is showing you something, or at least it's telling you that I'm putting in higher lows. I just came to test this and made a local swing high. And I came back to drop in a new higher low. That's systematic. Meaning if you even go to a 3-day chart and ask the question like, okay, what's my direction? You would say, this is my direction. You're still following that trend. So what's going to happen next? Unless you have a negative divergence formation, you're now going negative on an asset. And this is in an asset class. But one thing which we have to keep in mind is the moment you see the price action slowing down, it's going to be very bad. Now, why am I saying that? If you look at the momentum to the downside and the momentum to the upside, it took a lot more energy to push it back to the upside, right? So unless we break this range of resistance, you get rejected here. That's going to be bad. The momentum to the downside can be very, very bad. So what's it going to be, right? Are we going to form the local high here or here? That's the biggest question. That's why I say follow the market on a 3-day and a daily to see how high we're going, because the RSI shows you it's going to be a retest to the upside. That means if this happens and the price is here, don't get confused because the price is still trending higher. You need to monitor the negative divergence. SI family will be updated whenever I see a red flag, just like the Luna, the FTX, the Celsius, and everything else. So if you want to follow that, you can use the link in the description below and join the SI family. Now, if you watch the video till this point and you haven't smashed that like button yet, I would request, do that for me. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.